It's common knowledge that the Romans and the Germanic tribes didn't really get along. For 702 years, from 113 BC until 589 AD, the Roman Republic, and later Empire, would fight war after war with various Germanic tribes, kingdoms, and warlords, eventually ending with the second fall of Rome in the west, after the Byzantines lost Italy once again to the Lombards. But the Romans were the biggest, richest, and most organized empire on the European continent in their heyday, and led many campaigns into the heart of Germania over the years. So it raises the question, why did Rome fail to conquer Germany? The biggest attempt to invade the lands of the Germans began during the reign of Augustus, and was initially fairly successful, with the establishment of various strongholds in the area between the Rhine and Lippe rivers, which was then used as a staging ground for Roman diplomats, soldiers, and merchants to inch their way into German territory. In due time, Rome was the main power broker of the region, and took up an active role in enforcing the peace and policing the different tribes. It seemed that Germania would soon be changed from an unruly frontier into a proper province. That was until the destruction of 3 Roman legions at the Battle of Teutoburg Forest, where the Romans were ambushed by the forces of an anti-Roman tribal coalition. For the next 7 years, from 9 AD until the year 16, Rome would launch campaign after campaign to pacify and reconquer Germania, but only really succeeded at killing lots of Germans. Maybe a great military leader like Caesar, Trajan, Aurelian, Germanicus, or Constantine, given the proper time and resources, could have conquered the Germans. But the empire's great leaders tended to focus elsewhere. Even Germanicus, whose claim to fame is literally defeating the Germans, lacked the money, time, and manpower to fully bring the Roman yoke down onto Germania. And besides, the whole process was unnecessary. Germany at this time was relatively poor, lacking any sort of infrastructure, and having no real natural resources to speak of, and so would offer little benefit in and of itself if added as a province. And any continued Roman presence would be just like the 7-year slog they had already fought. The Germans would keep resisting, the Romans would slowly travel through largely roadless thickets and swamps, and maybe score a great victory over the German tribes, or maybe get themselves slaughtered by a horde of angry barbarians, with neither outcome having any appreciable effect other than wasting soldiers' lives and throwing away money. It was better for Rome to cut their losses and pull out, playing the tribes off of each other or launching the odd punitive campaign. The Romans were well aware of this before they ever launched their first incursions, which in turn raises the question, why did they try in the first place? Well, there were 2 main reasons. The first was borders. The Romans had a lot of trouble manning the entire length of the Rhine with legions, and so they figured if they annexed all the land to the Vistula, the Roman borders would be shorter overall. Secondly, the Germans had been raiding Gaul since before Caesar had even conquered it. He had actually been forced to defend Gaul from an invading German king early on in the Gallic Wars. This raiding and invading would continue for basically the entire history of Roman Gaul, and so the conquest of the Germans would pacify a hitherto hostile frontier. But due to the aforementioned reasons, it proved to be not worth the effort, and the Romans, if not undergoing any major crises, could deal with a longish border and a little raiding. In short, the Romans didn't conquer Germania because it would have been very difficult, and even if they pulled it off, there would have been very little benefit to doing so.